Hello, welcome to Summer Made Easy at ICCA Live. Thank you for joining us. Today, I'm going to teach you a dish that I love and hate. Okay? It's a dish that has been with me since 2002 from my first restaurant that I had to create a fish dish. And I created this dish and it followed me in 2 or 3 restaurants in Chile. And when I came to the UAE, again, I put it on a menu. I was never able to take it out. So stay with us. You're going to learn today how to make a nut-crusted salmon with a creamy quinoa and a nice red pepper sauce. So this is a great dish for summer. Very, very good dish for summer. You can prepare it ahead. You can make all the mise en place. And even though it has a lot of different parts, you'll realize that in around 30 minutes, we're going to be done with a great, great dish. So to start, I have a container with olive oil. You can use any kind of oil. I'll always try to use the best oil I have available. And I add capsicum, red capsicum. You can add any color capsicum, right? Anyone works. I just would be careful with the green one because the green one has a bit more tart. So it will take a bit of the protagonism in this dish, and the protagonism has to be on the salmon. So I'm going to put it in. If you're at home and you have an air fryer, work in an air fryer. If you don't have an air fryer, just do it in your oven. It works perfectly well. And when you want to cook, let's say, for the mid-time of the World Cup, the oven becomes your best friend. So I'm going to take it, and I'm going to go to my air fryer. My air fryer, I've preheated it. It's very, very important to preheat. Even though it's quite fast, it's better to preheat it because our product will start immediately cooking. If not, we're going to have 4 or 5 minutes where the temperature is coming up. That is going to extend our cooking time. So as I'm doing my mise en place, I turn my oven. I put it at 180. I always like 180, 190, depending what I'm putting in. And I just let it run. And as soon as I finish the mise en place, I'll start cooking it. Okay? So that's what we're doing. So very simple. You saw it. We just did olive oil, red capsicum, and to the oven to roast. And now I can move on to my second preparation of the day. Second preparation of the day is we're going to make a crust. And the main ingredient for this crust is going to be butter, it's going to be walnuts, and it's going to be coriander. Very, very important when you create a dish to have textures, right? I have fish that is going to be soft. I have quinoa that is going to be a bit crunchy but soft. I have a sauce that will be soft. So this will give a very nice crunch onto my preparation. So as I like working clean, what I'll do is I have a bag and I put my walnuts inside. Yep, just like this. You would see a lot of chefs who would take this and they would just start chopping it, showing their knife skills, right? I don't want to get my cutting board dirty. I don't want to use my knife for this. So I'm just going to get a rolling pin. Yep. If you're upset, you can release some stress with this. And you will just hit it so you break it. I don't want powder. Remember, if I do powder, it won't have crunch. And I need these textures in my dish. So we're live. I'm pointing you with my rolling pin. We're live on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok, and on YouTube. Please feel free to ask for questions, anything about this dish, about other preparations, about who's going to win the World Cup. And also, if you want the recipe, please type recipe and somebody from the media team will send it to you. So, just like that, I'm not interested in perfection here. I just want, a bit of it just to break. I'm going to have butter. This butter, I took it from the fridge around 35, 40 minutes ago. And so it's soft. That's it. I don't need to melt it. Very important not to melt it. Very, very important for all these crusts and things when you're using butter. Butter will completely change if you melt it because the water in the butter will separate, will split, right? And I want that water because I need it during the cooking process. If not, it will just come off. So I'll do this, and I'll add my coriander. For my coriander, I'm using the stems. I'm using the roots because first, that's where the flavor is. And second is I want that crunchiness. I want crunchiness from my stems and crunchiness from my walnuts. I have my first question. An Instagram viewer is asking, is it okay to use a blender for this, chef? Yeah, you can use it, but you'll lose all the crunchiness, right? Because if you use a blender, you're going to have a powder And in that, you're going to lose the crunchiness. It's going to taste nice. Everything will look better, but it will lose that texture. And then just with my hands, yep, I have a glove, so there's no problem with using my hands. And I'm just going to mix it. Yep. Don't overmix. It's important not to overmix. It's important, remember, the most important part or the most relevant part in this is that the butter doesn't melt. The butter doesn't split. Butter is, I always teach this to my students, right? I ask them, where does butter come from? Huh? And they say, yeah, from cows. Yeah, but it doesn't come directly from a cow, right? I'll ask you that question. Where does butter come from? And what is the components in butter? While I continue with this recipe. So once this is mixed, right, I'll get some baking paper. You can use baking paper. You could use a bag as well. You could use wax paper. That's fine. And but anything that prevents your butter from sticking. Yep. So here I'm going to teach you a second trick. So I'm going to fold. I'm going to stretch a bit my butter, right? Like that. And then for efficiency, I need to be able that this stays like as square as possible. So I'll fold my baking paper on all sides. Yep. I'll fold it. I'll put that fold under. And I'll get my same rolling pin. And I'll start just spreading this butter. This will allow me to spread my butter into a rectangle that it will make it more efficient for me to work. So I'll do that. I'll do here. I'll fold here. Now, what's good about this filling, or about this crust, is that if I have leftovers, I can always keep it. How do I keep it? I keep it frozen. Don't keep it in the fridge. Keep it frozen, and the shelf life of this crust will be easily 6 months, right? I have a second question. TikTok viewer, who do you think will win the World Cup? Oh, interesting question. I've been looking at a lot of AI. You know, there's a lot of AI trying to be used to find out who's gonna win the World Cup. I have different opinions. If you ask me, who do I want to win the World Cup? I would say Argentina. That would be my wish, right? Who do I think is going to win? I think we're going to see, I haven't seen the fixture, but I think we're going to see the same final of the Euro Cup 1 year or 2 years back. I think it's going to be Spain or France. And in my heart, I hope that Spain wins. That's my answer. I won't put money on it. Now, this is done. Now, I'm going to put it in the freezer. In around 30-35 minutes, it's going to be firm and hard. So, I'm going to get it in the freezer. While I wait for the one in the freezer, I'm going to turn on my water for the next part of the recipe. Can I get it? So, this I did it 35 minutes ago. You can see, camera, here. You can see how I have my nuts, how I have my coriander, right? And my batter. Now, what I would do in a restaurant is I usually portion my fish in a specific size, and I'll cut this, I think, like 4 or 5 centimeters, right? Keeping the baking paper, it allows me to work. It's quite easy, right? So I'll do this, and I'll keep this. This I'll put it back in the fridge, and this we'll be using it in this recipe. I have a second question. Chef, have you used oil for air frying the peppers? Yes, I put oil. I put it inside oil. I'm trying to make a mix between a confit and roasting it. So I'll bring this pot of water to a boil, right? And we're going to be cooking the next, our next preparation. I have another question. A lot of questions today, yeah? TikTok viewer, can I recreate the same recipe with chicken fillet? Yeah, you can do it with anything. Anything, yep. Now, on the chicken, you have to be careful that it gets fully cooked, right? So I would try to, I really need to work on the thickness of that fillet because I need it to get fully cooked, but I also don't want my crust to burn. So you need to find a balance there, right? Next question, can you make a compound butter from it? Yeah, it is like a compound butter, really, right? It's salted butter, it has herbs, and it has something crunchy. So yes, I could use it for that. Yep. So I got my pot. I'm gonna bring it to a boil, and the next we have already done. We have had like 10 minutes. We've done the sauce, 90%. We're just missing to blend, and our crust that is ready. Now we're gonna cook our side dish. In our side dish, we're gonna use quinoa. So I'm gonna ask the viewers, where is quinoa from, number one? And second, is it a grain? Yes or no? While I wait for those answers, I'm gonna check my questions. Butter comes from whipping cream. The buttermilk and butter separate that bakes it. Sort of. So the explanation, I always say this to my students. So when a cow or a buffalo, let's say a cow produces milk, right? That milk will have around between 4 and 5% fat, right? The rest will be, it's called non-fat milk solids. That usually is the protein and the lactose, the sugar in the milk, plus water, right? And that non-fat milk solids will be around 5%. So I have 5, 90. Then if I want to do cream, I need 35% fat. So I'll reduce the amount of water. We'll able to gather that fat for the 35% and so on. Then if I whisk it, right, and I over whisk it, I break the emulsion, and it's gonna separate within the water and buttermilk and the fat, right? And that's gonna be my butter. Now that butter will have around 82% fat, 5% non-fat milk solids, and the rest is gonna be water, right? And clarified butter or ghee is gonna be 100% fat. I remove all the non-fat milk solids and the water. Now, when I want to cook, right, the best way to cook with butter is to cook with clarified butter or ghee. That means that there's no water, number one, and there's non-fat milk solids, because those protein, they burn, right? So it will affect, the result. Now, there are recipes that use butter, especially when I want like a almondy or a toasted nut flavor in the butter. I'm gonna burn that, right? That's it. Okay, so my pot is boiling, and I'm gonna go with my quinoa. Here I have two types of quinoa. I have black and white or cream quinoa. And the only thing I need to do here is boil it. I need to boil it. Question, where was the quinoa from? Answer, my name is Francisco. I am a chef at ICCA, and I'm from Chile. And quinoa, the origin of quinoa is Peru, Bolivia, and Chile. These three countries, that area, have produced quinoa for thousands of years. And they've consumed it for thousands of years. It became trendy around 25 years ago, right? Because I imagine a good marketeer, that would be my answer, a guy very good in marketing. The quinoa is considered a superfood. What's a superfood? It's a food that has all the essential amino acids that we need for life, right? So it sounds like great, but it doesn't replace other proteins. It doesn't mean that I can only eat quinoa and I'll be healthy. No, it just contains all of them, but not in the amount, the quantities that we require, okay? So it is a seed. It's not a grain. By being a seed, right, it doesn't have starch, has very little carbs, so it's mainly protein and fiber, right? And we're gonna boil it for around 6 to 8 minutes, yeah? And this depends on the chef. I know chefs that like to leave it overcooked for me, right? That the seed breaks and it becomes like a very thin, seed, right? But for me, that's overcooked and it loses the texture. As I have two here, the white takes a bit, it's faster than the black one, so I'm gonna stop it when the white is already ready and the black one is still raw, so I'm gonna get some extra crunchiness out of it, okay? Last question. Instagram viewer, is salmon a freshwater fish? Salmon is very interesting, right? You're gonna have Atlantic and Pacific salmon to start. That's the difference, and they're gonna be different, huh? Now, salmon will be born on a river, and as it grows, it will swim downstream and go to the ocean and live all its life in the ocean. And when it's ready to reproduce, because they reproduce only once in their lifetime, they're gonna come up that river and they're gonna die as a fresh water. So they're born fresh water, they become salt water, and they die as fresh water. So it's both of them. So while the quinoa boils, we're gonna move on to the next part of the dish. So I need my salmon. While I get my salmon, I'm gonna turn on a pan, and I need to get quite hot this pan. That is not helping me. Yeah, here, just here. Thank you. So, hot pan. I need hot pan. Very important for the Maillard reaction. So, hot pan. I'm going to get my olive oil. Remember, always try to use the best quality oil you can get. I always say we're very lucky here in the UAE because we get very good oils from South Asia. Very, very good oils. Nice mustard, light sesame, a lot of nut oils that in my knowledge, they're better than the rest of the seed oils, that we use commonly. I can see my quinoa working perfectly. I have my fish. As always, my fish, I keep it in the fridge with ice. Fish, 2 degrees, not 4 degrees, 2 degrees. If you want your fish to last longer, put some ice in the bottom, put the fish on top. The day before, I keep it uncovered because I want some dehydration to happen to my fish, so it becomes quite, the flavor becomes more intense. So I can see my pan, and it's smoking, right? And I'm gonna take my fish, and I'll go on the bone side. In, okay? I'm not gonna cook both because the media team have not been nice this week with me, so they're only getting one piece today. So, I touch fish. I need to remove my gloves. And I really need high heat, very, very high heat. Yep, I need to listen to this sizzle. This sizzle is super, super important in my preparation. Yep. Remember, I don't want to cook it all the way, but I do need to get this flavor in. Okay? So guys, I told you, I'm from Chile. This salmon is from Norway. Where are you watching us? Please share it with us. Where are you watching? If you eat salmon, if you like it, you don't like it, and what do you think about this recipe? Okay? So, I'll flip my salmon. Look how nice color I have. And that's what I'm looking for. I'll turn on my pan because I don't want to cook it further. I want the cooking process to happen in my air fryer, okay? So I'm gonna get a plate, I'm gonna get the base, and now that I see that my fish is nice, golden, developing, flavors and aromas with the Maillard reaction, yeah? Maillard reaction, remember, is the reaction of protein to heat. Caramelization is the reaction of sugars to heat. So I have my fish. It looks very nice. I'll use, again, baking paper because I don't want to wash my air fryer. And I'll take my butter and I'll just put it on top. Okay? Now, if I'm thinking of the World Cup, I'm inviting 10 friends, I can do this process in the morning, keep it like this, put it in the fridge, right? And when we're in minute 30 of the first half, oven on, salmon in, 15 minutes, you're gonna have a perfect meal once you get to halftime. My quinoa is always also ready. I'm just gonna stop it. And we're almost there. As my fish is ready, we'll get the peppers. I want you to see the peppers. We'll prepare the sauce, and then I'll tell you a couple more tips. So come with me. So I have my capsicum. It's nice and warm. I don't want too much color. I'm just gonna take it out. And in the same container, this is important, in the same container, I'm gonna put my fish. If I was doing it at home and I don't have an air fryer, this moment I'll just put it in the oven while the oven is warm, 180 degrees. It's a perfect temperature for this. And we're gonna go to the oven and just put it in. This will take around 8 minutes. So we'll set up at 10 and we'll go. And we're almost done. We've been cooking for around 20 minutes. Our sauce, we just need to blend it. Our side dish is almost ready. Our main protein is cooking. So we're doing great so far, right? I'll take my jug. I'll take my peppers. I'll go in. In this preparation, I'm using the oil. I'm using the oil because I want an emulsion. I want my sauce to be an emulsion, right? Still a bit hot. I'm not going to put all the oil in, but I'm going to put a good amount. I'll just be careful. Whenever you blend something that is hot, you got to be careful first because it's hot. And second, because as I need to control the texture of my sauce, right? If I put too much liquid and it's too liquid, I'm going to have to boil it. In this case, there's oil. So I'm just going to blend. In the case that it's oil, it's very difficult to reduce. So when you're making soups or sauces, first the solid, have the liquid, do the blending. And after you do the blending, you can manage, if you need more, to be lighter, to be more runny, you can add extra liquid, okay? Before we go to our video, we have people watching from Guyana. From Guyana, really, that's really far. Hi to the people of Guyana. Wonderful, beautiful country. Beautiful. Philippines, beautiful. Uganda, beautiful. Saudi Arabia, beautiful. Qatar, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Kenya, from the UK. Nice weather in the UK right now. Not yet, maybe. So guys, I hope you can enjoy it. I hope you like it. And as I blend the sauce, we're going to go for a break. You're going to see a video of ICCA about our cooking labs, our teachers, and how's the life of our students while they take this great program with us. Okay? So, see you when we're back. Welcome back. I hope you saw what we do. We do it with a lot of passion. We do everything for our students, and very lucky for us, not lucky really, because we do a good job. Very good for us. Our students do really well. We have 100% placement. We service 86% of the industry. We've trained over 12,000 chefs. So there's no doubt that we're the best cooking school in the Middle East and soon in the world. So our sauce, almost fully done. Very simple, very straightforward, right? And what's good about this sauce is that this sauce, I can keep it for a long while. I'm going to take this out. Monsieur, thank you very much. Always in the kitchen. Oh, I'm still fast. Old but fast. Good catch. I should get a good catch, chef, please, on the comments. Yep. So our sauce is ready. We have our quinoa that is ready. I'm only going to strain it now. I'm going to remove all the water. Not all of the water, but I want to remove the water. And because we're gonna finish it. So just strain it. We want it back. And we're ready to finish, ready to cook. So what do we have? We have our quinoa. We're going to turn on the stove. We're going to turn it on at low heat. We don't want a lot of heat. Yep. But I want to dry it a bit. I want to remove the excess of water, right? Also, when I'm working with seeds, when I'm working with grains, especially when I make risotto, I try to toast it. I try to develop an extra flavor that you will only get it with when you dry it down, right? So I'm gonna dry my quinoa, and I'm gonna add this nice cherry tomatoes. Yep. Quinoa, South America. Tomatoes, South America. So let's go Argentina, Brazil, Paraguay, Uruguay. Everybody's on the World Cup except Chile. Very unlucky for me. But that's how life is. You can't have everything in life, right? Do I have another question? Yes. Can I use another fish? Yes, you can replace it with any other fish. You can replace it with chicken, with turkey, any white meat, I would say. You just need to ensure that everything gets fully cooked. What other healthy seed or grain can I use? For doing this, I like using quinoa. I can use chia seeds, but I need to hydrate them. I make a combination of quinoas or just like a multi-grain. Okay, works really, really nice. So I added my tomato. Now I'm going to add my spinach. Spinach, I don't know if it's from South America, but maybe it should, right? What am I going to get from my spinach? I'm going to get a lot of fiber, and I'm going to get a lot of minerals. Very important, right? People who are anemic, who have anemia, they need to eat as many green veggies as possible. And spinach is a very good one because you can eat it raw and cooked. Both work. Yep. Dimple from TikTok. How long is the boiling time for quinoa? It depends on the result that you want. I said it. If you're able to look at this one, we have white and black. Black takes a bit longer to cook. So the white is fully cooked and the black is still crunchy, so it's going to give me a texture. But it will be between 6 and 8 minutes, right? Now, there's nothing wrong if you overcook it, right? Because the quinoa, as long as if it dries, you might burn it. But if not, there's no problem. Quinoa doesn't have a lot of flavor, right? Main producers, I said it was South America, but now South Asia is producing. So you're getting quinoa from India and Pakistan. You got to be careful. You need to taste it because sometimes they have some bitterness that you need to wash it before cooking it, okay? But in general, it works just fine. So now I'm going to add cream, right? And cream, what will cream give me? Love and flavor, right? It will give me a lot of flavor. I always make fun of my French and Italian friends who are chefs, and I say without cream and butter, your cuisine wouldn't be what it is, right? But I love cream. I like the how it rounds up, how it transfers the flavors and so on. And this will make my dish very, very nice. Now, nobody has asked. I was expecting people to ask. I didn't put salt in this preparation. I didn't put salt in my fish, right? Why? Because in the fish, the butter, I like using salted butter. I'm that kind of chef. There's a lot of chefs who say no salted. I want to control the amount of salt. No, I like using salted butter. I think it gives a very good balance to my fish, right? And in here, I've added, nothing has flavor, but now I'm going to add the cheese, el queso. What am I adding? I'm adding Parmigiano Reggiano. Parmigiano Reggiano is an Italian cheese. It has, it is protected. It's produced around Modena. It is a dish. Sorry, it is a cheese that needs minimum 12 months of aging. Minimum 12 months of aging, and it will be quite salty, right? And it has natural MSG in it, so it's gonna really give me that umami flavor that I'm looking for. Okay, so and it's gonna be salty, and I'm gonna add a lot. So the salt in my side dish will come from my cheese. Yep. If I don't have Parmigiano, what would I use? My second option would be Grana Padano, right? It's also a bit cheaper, but it's a very, very good cheese. If I don't have that, I would use Pecorino Romano. Yep. Very, very nice cheeses with a lot of flavor, and they will fill my dish with umami, okay? Side dish is ready. Sauce is ready. What are we missing? We're missing our fish. And that is almost ready, yeah? Good tip for the cheese. Very good tip for the cheese. You know, we humankind, we're lazy, right? So when I buy cheese, I get the whole thing and I grate it fully, right? And I might have a problem sometimes if it takes long for me to use it. It can get mold, right? And I can lose it. It's quite an expensive product. What's my tip? I grate it immediately and I freeze it and I keep it in the freezer. And I do this at home and I do it at restaurants, right? Why? Because this cheese will stay for long, and when I put it on the plate, instead of melting immediately, it will take some time to melt. So when I plate it in the kitchen and it makes it to my customer, he'll still be able to see that amount and, you know, love that I'm trying to transmit with that cheese, okay? So we're ready with this. We're ready for plating. I'm gonna keep some cheese there. I have my sauce. It looks very nice. What can I say? It looks very, very nice. Good job. Good job. I have Nelly. Hi, Nelly. How are you? Is this a high cholesterol dish? And if you can do something about it, yeah, you can do a lot about it, right? Is it high cholesterol? I would say it's not high cholesterol. Okay? Why? Why? Because in the fish, right, salmon specifically is very rich in good cholesterol, right? So that will help bring the cholesterol down on this dish. That's number one. All the omegas will also be very good for you, right? Also, the butter will melt, so not all of it will go onto the plate. Now here, yes, I have cholesterol coming from the cream and from the Parmigiano, but I have a lot of fiber, a lot of fiber, so it's gonna make it difficult for the body to absorb that. Now, if I'm in a quest to reduce my cholesterol, really easy, very, very easy solutions we have for this, right? What are they? I can replace my cream. What can I use? I can use milk. Okay, you don't want to use milk. I can use any non-fat, non-dairy so-called milks. I don't agree of calling, you know, almond milk or soya milk because they're not really milk, right? But you can use any of this and your cholesterol intake will be low. Remember, you're using olive oil, good cholesterol. If you don't want to use cheese, right? If you don't want to be happy in life and you don't want to use Parmigiano Reggiano, what can you use? You can use an aged, now you can find aged tofu, you know, aged cottage cheese, so that is going to give you a bit of richness, but without, you know, the cholesterol that we have here. So our salmon is so nice. What can I say? It's not because I did it. Good job again. Double good job. Okay, so I love working with baking paper because it doesn't get hot, so I don't need, you know, rags and stuff. I'm done with this. I can go to my dish. Beautiful dish. I didn't do it, but I did all the rest. Okay? So what are we going to do? We're going to plate. We're going to use the quinoa. Oh, I had lunch already, yeah? But I think I'll eat some quinoa as well. It's so good. And as I told you at the beginning, I did the same quinoa for my food all the week. I love the colors, I love the flavor, and I love that I know that it's good for me. It's very good for me. Did you remove the salmon skin? Who's asking this? It doesn't matter. Yes, I did. I removed it. But because I did a decoration with it. Whoop, and it breaks and it flies. I did a decoration. I roasted my salmon skin, right? Very, very simple, very easy to make, and it provides a lot of flavor. And sometimes people don't like that, you know, that the skin is not crunchy. In this case, it's very difficult to make it crunchy. So I removed it, and how do I prepare it? One tray, baking paper, I put the skin, I remove all the meat from the skin, baking paper, another tray, and I put it in the oven. 200 degrees, 7-8 minutes. And I usually season it. I put some paprika, sometimes some garlic powder. You can put some seeds and so on. And it will give you an extra flavor for your dish. I'll take my salmon. This looks so good, huh? Not because I made it, huh? But it sure looks so good. And then we have our sauce. The sauce is so nice, right? If you want to do soup with this, you roast the peppers. Don't keep the oil for something else. Use it for garnish or something. And just keep this basis. In my restaurants, usually, I always have soups, right? I love soups, and I think it's a very good way of starting a meal. And if somebody orders, you can send them a cup. It's a good thing to do. And the cost is very low. So I would roast peppers, and I would keep them frozen. And if I had, I would get my peppers, a bit of cream, just heat it up, hand blend it, and I can serve very easily a 3-color soup for my customers. My sauce, oh, it's so good. I don't know how many times I've said good. If somebody counted, please, you can share with me how many times did I say good about my food. But as I told you, this is a dish that I've sold so much, right? I've never counted how many, but I can tell you that this dish, I put it in a menu the first time in 2002, and I kept it in a menu until 2022. And it was the best seller in the menu, and in Chile, in the UAE, and in South Asia. So it's a great dish. Okay, I'll take my Parmigiano. I'll put it a bit on my quinoa. I'll take my crispy skin. Opa. It's very delicate. I think I was too. I think I really made it very thin. And that's it. Very simple dish, full of flavors, full of colors, great dish for the summer. You're gonna be full without any carbs. Very important that there's no carbs here, right? The only sugars that you're gonna get come from the sauce, right? But a lot of fiber, a lot of good fat, a lot of good protein. So hope you enjoyed it. Here's our dish. It looks very nice. Try to do it at home. If you do it, right, try to tag ICCA. If you find me on Instagram, maybe we'll put down my ID on Instagram. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me to ask questions about this dish or anything, or just about cooking, or about knives, or about who will win the World Cup. Okay? Thank you very much. Have a great day. See you soon. Bye-bye.